Hey everyone, it's Chris Loud. Today I'm going to show an example of how I create an abstract painting inspired by nature. This painting took me for a little bit of an unexpected ride. I really liked how this started out, but clearly the painting had other ideas. This painting demo was inspired by a close-up image of a maple tree, and I started by doing a loose charcoal sketch of some of the unique shapes and lines in the bark, and I really liked this part of it. My original intention was to put a little bit of paint down first as a background and then do the sketch over top of that, and kind of forgot that. So I just started the sketch, used a little bit of water to spread some of that charcoal, and then I'm now using some acrylic gel medium to fix this. I don't show typically in this video when I dry the painting with a hair dryer. This was a warm-up painting, so I did stop and dry it a few times, so I did that after the acrylic medium. And now I'm just getting a mix of yellow ochre, Payne's gray, and white down, and just using a brayer to spread that out. And this painting goes in a very different direction, like I said. And this is, I think, kind of that area where it starts to do that. I think had I put the paint down first and then done the sketch over top of it, I might have had a different result. But you know, once I realized, okay, now I've got to try and pull this charcoal sketch out, and I do an okay job getting that sketch back out. For some reason, it just started going in a little bit different direction, and then I just kind of went in a really, really different direction here. So at this point, I'm putting down some alizarin crimson and some white and some yellow ochre and just blending it, and really, again, liking where this is headed. But as you'll see by the end, this ends up in a very different place, and you still can tell where I got the inspiration from that photo of the tree, but it just looks vastly different. The nice thing about video, doing a video of yourself painting, is that you can go back and look at what you did and different parts of the painting. You can learn a lot about your own process, while you're looking at this, and things you do well, maybe bad habits that you have that you don't realize that you have. I realize that I don't always see the painting as a whole, because I'm going quickly, and I just very quickly react to little sections, which once I change that can affect the whole painting. But it was around this point I started looking at it, and I just, something was not feeling quite right at this point. And I had an envelope that I had cleared my palette with orange and yellow that was sitting off on a table next to me, and it just kept looking at me. So I thought, okay, we're going to go somewhere different. So I put this down, which kind of looks like a carrot now that I'm looking at it. And I just start using a little bit of this paper, and seeing where this takes me. And again, it kind of took me in a very different direction. But I guess that's the thing with painting in general, but really with these warm-up paintings, is you have to be okay with pivoting with your painting. That's where a lot of amazing ideas come from. Not to say that this was an amazing painting by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely, kind of took me by surprise, because I really, at some point, had no idea where I was headed with this. And I even, when I finished this after the time was up, I didn't take the tape off. I let it sit for a while because I felt like there was something there. It wasn't finished, and I came back to it later in the day and played with it some more, and think it came out with a nice result. But yeah, like I said, you can get some amazing ideas from really changing directions quickly. So I'm mixing up a little bit of Prussian blue and water, and just kind of pouring it on parts of the painting, and then just spraying it with water, letting the drips come down, and kind of letting that water soak in and move around a little bit. And then trying to dry that as quickly as I can. But I was really liking, some of the direction of this and some of the look that it had, but it still was looking like it needed something, it needed more. But really, one brush stroke, one accidental scratch from a palette knife, one color that seems a little off or out of place can really point you in a different direction. And it's not always to shift your direction, especially when there's an aspect of your painting where it currently is that you like. I know I can hold on to that precious little spot in a painting and try to mold everything else around it, and I find myself overthinking and tightening up because I don't want to mess anything up. And that's usually when the painting goes south, or I'll stop painting so I don't ruin anything, and that painting will sit in a corner for a while. But it's much easier with a sketchbook painting or a warm-up painting because you really don't have anything to lose. If it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out. You move on to the next one, and maybe you try that painting again, or maybe not. I definitely am glad that I was recording this, because the beginning of this painting, I think, had something there, and I do want to revisit that. So I will play with the direction I was originally going again in a painting. But at this point, I'm really trying to figure things out. I feel like there's something here, but I'm not sure what. And so I think darkening up this upper corner was a good step in the right direction. And then just trying to get a little bit more contrast and pulling away from the lighter colors that are at the bottom, just to add a little bit more interest and draw a little more interest to the orange in the now in the lower left, but it was up in the right for most of the painting. But again, looking at that orange, there just seems like a lot there. It's almost a little overbearing. So here's where I started thinking I need more contrast to not only pull parts of the orange out, but to kind of tame this painting a little bit and bring a little more focus into certain areas. So in the original picture, there was a spot here at the bottom where you could see, you could see kind of past the tree. And I didn't originally put that in, and decided, well, I'm gonna pop that back in and see how that does and if that changes things. And I felt like that started me in a little bit better direction. And then again, I thought there was maybe too much attention coming to the orange. There was just too much orange. So I started trying to create a little bit of depth and contrast by bringing in some of the Payne's gray and Prussian blue. So in this painting, I'm using Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, Payne's gray. Started with a little green gold, yellow ochre, and titanium white. And I used a brayer. Catalyst wedge a little bit to get the paper down. Obviously, some of this, I guess we can call it collage paper. It's an old envelope that I had painted over, and a paintbrush. And I think I used a palette knife a little bit in here as well. And I'm using the sketchbook is watercolor paper. So it is kind of fun to look out in nature at different things around you and really kind of look at, I don't want to say mundane, but things that you might not normally look at. This bark really, it didn't jump out at me or anything. I just happened to be standing at the tree and I was looking at some of the buds and I thought, well, I'll just take a picture of the bark and see what these shapes can make in a painting. So do you have favorite subjects in nature that inspire your paintings? I'd be curious to see what you look at. I know flowers are a big topic. I love painting flowers, abstract or non-abstract. So here I am just kind of flipping that through with a mat, and I'm liking where this is at the moment. It's starting to take shape. I felt like I needed to get a little bit of the orange in a different spot too, just to put a little bit of harmony in here. And so I just put another little piece down and then worked the paint a little bit to try and get it to look so it wasn't just sitting on top, that it had been kind of below the layers of paint a little bit. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of these, feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate that, especially the thumbs up. Kind of lets me know if I should do more paintings like this, or I should record more paintings like this, I should say. But let me know what you think. Again, very different direction that this took me in. So here's really kind of the final painting. I'll show you some different orientations. Thanks for watching, and keep on painting.